Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So in my last vlog, I shared with you guys that I was moving. Yes, this is moving. Isn't that so exciting? To get a little more details on that, make sure you watch my last vlog. But now it is time for me to pack. I've been so busy with buying new stuff for the new place. I cannot wait to share that stuff with you guys. But for now, I have to pack up my current apartment, and although I don't have a lot of stuff, I just don't want to wait until the last minute and be like extremely stressed out. And this is my first time moving in 17 years. It sounds crazy saying it out loud. Yes, 17 years. I've been in my place for 17 years, and this was my first apartment. So it's time for a story. Yes, story time. I'm going to share a story with you guys. So like I said, I've been in my apartment for 17 years now. Don't mind, I'm just gonna pack while I talk to you guys. And I didn't plan to stay here that long, but it just happened. So let's get to the story. So I had my son while I was in college. I was 19, turning 20, and I was still living at home with my mom. And once I had my son, I wanted my own space. I wanted to move out, but I couldn't quite afford to move out on my own because, like I said, I was in college. I was in school full time. I was working part time. So when my son was about one, no, actually he was turning two, myself and my three best friends decided that we were going to get an apartment and be roommates. And that did not turn out well. That lasted for about 8 months. We were on a month-to-month lease, and we all had agreed in advance that if someone was moving out, we'd get a replacement. We had all these rules in place, and that didn't matter. People just didn't follow the rules. One person decided she was going back to school and just left. She was packing up the food in the apartment, and that got crazy. Then another person tried to move her boyfriend in without paying additional rent, and then she decided that she couldn't afford to stay and leave. And then that left just two of us, myself with a 2-year-old son working part-time, and the other person had a baby that was a couple of months old and was working part-time as well. And neither one of us could afford to pay the rent by ourselves. If I remember correctly, it was like, let's say about $1,500 a month for a 4-bedroom apartment, which wasn't bad. It wasn't in the greatest area, but it wasn't too bad. But it was nice. It wasn't that great, but we were so desperate to move out that we did it. Like I said, it didn't turn out well. Only last like 8 months. And I didn't want to go back home, but I was still in school. I had about another year or so left, and I still couldn't afford a place of my own. So I decided to go stay with my aunt until I graduated so that I can get a full-time job and be able to afford my own apartment. So I moved in with my aunt, and I stayed like a year or so. It wasn't more than 2 years, about a year or so as planned until I graduated. And as soon as I graduated, I got my full-time job, which I'm currently still at as well, which is crazy to me. I've been at my job for almost 18 years and in my apartment for 17 years. But I got my full-time job, and I applied for a housing lottery, and I got this apartment. It was crazy. Like, things was just falling in place for me. So at the time, this apartment was about $800 a month. It's a 1-bedroom. Although it's a huge 1-bedroom, it's still just a 1-bedroom apartment. So I decided to put my son in the room so he can have his own space, because I never really had my own space, and I wanted my son to have his own space growing up. So I put my son in the bedroom, and I split the living room as my room, which we currently still have the same setup, just the decor is much better than it was back then because I ain't have a whole lot of money. But anyway, I got this apartment. It was $800 a month. I didn't plan to stay here so long. I wanted to eventually get a bigger space in a nicer neighborhood. because this neighborhood was not that great when I moved in. It was like real hood, and I didn't realize it was real hood. But it was real hood, and it was violent, it was crime, it was people hanging around. But they ended up gentrifying the neighborhood while I was here, and things just got nicer. So it was like, okay, I can stay, but I want to find a bigger apartment in the neighborhood. Oh, not too far, because the neighborhood was nice now, gentrified, you know. They made it nice for, you know, other people. So I ended up staying in the process, trying to save money for a bigger space. So I have a rent stabilized apartment. And if you don't know what that is, in New York City, we have rent stabilized apartments where the rent is kind of controlled by the rent guidelines board, and the management can't raise your rent more than certain percentages, which are established by the rent guidelines board every year. And they establish the percentages for 1 and 2 year leases. And if you sign a 1 year lease renewal, your rent is raised by the percentage for the 1 year lease. And if you sign a 2 year lease renewal, your rent is raised by the percentages of the 2 year lease. So although I have a rent stabilized apartment, I had what's called a preferential rent. I had no clue what that was until it slapped me in the face. So the first couple of years I was here, when they raised my rent, they pretty much raised my rent by the rent guideline boards percentages, and my rent never went up more than about, let's say, $30 or so, 20 something, $30. But then my management company sold. It had to change hands a couple of times, but when I realized they sold it the first time, I got a lease renewal and my rent was going up about $100. And I'm like, what is going on here? They're not supposed to be able to do that. Come to find out, they were able to do that. My aunt helped me research it, and we understood what a preferential rent was. So with the preferential rent, my management company was able to raise my rent more than the percentages that the rent guidelines board set, as long as they didn't raise my rent more to a total more than the legal regulated rent. I know that sounds crazy and hard to understand. I couldn't understand it. But that first time they sent that renewal, and I was devastated because it was crazy. It was a big jump, but I paid it. I think that happened again the next year. Probably was another renewal about $100, and I paid it. And then I think the next year they wanted me to pay $150 increase, and I'm like, nah, that's too much. I called and negotiated. I didn't realize that was a thing. I'm like, listen, that's too much of an increase for me. I can't pay that. And I negotiated with them, and I think they ended up charging me $100 for the renewal if I renewed for 2 years, and I renewed for 2 years. But you know, just put all of this together. At this point, my rent then went up $350, $400 from the $800. And remember, I said I've been here 17 years. This is about maybe 5 or 6 years in, right? So let's fast forward to about 2019, right before the pandemic. And my rent is already crazy high, but Cuomo passes a bill that pretty much eliminates preferential rent, which means when my management company sends me my next renewal lease, that they cannot increase my rent more than the percentages that the rental guidelines board set, which was a relief for me because I knew what to expect when it came time to lease renewal, and I knew they wasn't going to try to increase my rent another $200 or so, which was perfect when it came time for the pandemic. Right before the pandemic hit, or right during the beginning of lockdown, I had to renew my lease. And things was looking good with me keeping my job. My job was stable, but I didn't want a crazy increase. So being that they eliminated the preferential rent, I renewed my lease for 2 years. And let's say the increase is about $60 or so, and my rent is almost $1,600 at this point. So I renewed my lease, and my lease is pretty much the same amount during the entirety of lockdown and most of the pandemic, right? So before we move forward, we're going to go backwards a little bit. About the end of 2019, I started having issues with my upstairs neighbor. So this is amongst the other issues I was already dealing with in my building for years. People hanging in the hallway. I'm on the first floor and the lobby and entrance is right next to my door. So people hanging in the hallway, smoking, hanging out in front of the building, kids running through the hallway. Things was crazy. And then above me, it was like a group of like 4 people. And over the years, everybody in my building decide they want to move their entire family in. So you move more people in these small apartments. Well, the apartments are not really that small, but small enough to be moving your whole family in. But more people in the building means more noise. So my upstairs neighbor, it was about 4 adults living in the house. The daughter decides to, well, I can't say decide. One of the daughters had a baby and moved her man in. And by the time the kids start walking, the kids start running through the house. But I'm like, okay, not too bad. But then we're going to fast forward some more. By the end of 2019, she had another kid a couple of years before. And at this point, both the kids are running through the house daily, every day, waking me up out of my sleep early on the weekends. Then the adults are banging on the floor. It's like constant noise. So, I went to let them know that it was a problem. They were very nonchalant about it. And they didn't stop. I waited a couple of months and then I went to management, and this is when things started getting crazy. So management tells me, to document it, take videos, take notes. They're going to take care of it. And let's fast forward to lockdown. Lockdown, things were extremely bad. I'm working from home. These kids are running over my head all day. You have the kids in the building running through the hall. You got the parents banging on the floor. It was like a nightmare living here. And the management company, they can't do but so much during lockdown. But as things start to loosen up a bit where they can meet in person, they start having these meetings and coming to check the noise and doing all of these things, acting like they were going to do something about the noise. Yet they didn't. Then I'm dealing with other people in the building, extremely loud in the hallway, letting their kids run back and forth, hanging out in front of the building, literally letting their kids run under my window. And I'm telling you, at this point, it was coming for lease renewal again. And I'm just like, I don't want to stay here anymore. Like, I have to go. But I felt kind of helpless. And it's like I was extremely upset because my rent was so high. Like I said, with the last lease renewal, my rent was almost $1,600, and we're coming up on renewal again, and I'm like, I cannot stay here. But at that current moment, I couldn't leave because it's like, we're just coming back from the pandemic. Things are still unstable, but it's like I have to do something because I can't stay where I'm at, right? And really quick, so you guys understand that I'm not just complaining about noise. Even if it's not written in your lease, it's implied. You have the right to the peaceful and quiet enjoyment of your apartment. And that means you don't have to deal with excessive noise. And quite frankly, excessive noise can get you evicted. It's considered nuisance. So if you make excessive noise, it can get you evicted. And if you're dealing with excessive noise, that's a breach of the peaceful enjoyment of your apartment. So you don't have to just sit back and deal with excessive noise. Your management company has to take action. Your management company or your landlord. You don't have to deal with people letting their kids running back and forth or banging all times of night. It's an ordinance for when ordinary noise can take place. And I believe it's between 7 or 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. But even during those hours, excessive noise, just kids banging, stomping, that shouldn't be happening. Your management company has to take action. Also, if it says in your lease that the floor should be covered, management has to make people obey that. In my lease, 80% of the floors is supposed to be covered. I'm on the first floor and I have a lot of my floors covered. But my upstairs neighbors, they're supposed to cover the floor. Even after management came in and checked and told them that they had to cover the floor as the lease states, they still didn't do it. And management is supposed to enforce that. So you have rights as a tenant when you have a lease and you're paying rent, and you need to stay on top of your landlord to do what they're supposed to do and enforce those rules that's in the lease and make sure that you get your peaceful enjoyment of your apartment. And that's why I'm leaving. Management hasn't been doing anything. Quite frankly, I can sue them. And hey, I still just might, but I wasn't trying to do things that would inhibit me from getting a new apartment. When you're applying for new apartments, lawsuits that's currently in action or taking place, or past lawsuits against your landlord don't really look good. However, they still may get sued. But I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that I'm not just complaining. This is the law. Excessive noise is a nuisance and it's terms for eviction. So remember that if you're the one creating a nuisance or if someone is creating a nuisance for you. So now we're at 2022 lease renewal, and the things in my building are just getting worse. Nothing's getting better. Management is not doing anything. And when I send in my renewal, my rent is now going up to over $1,600. Yes, with all of this nonsense I'm dealing with, I have to pay over $1,600 in rent. So I'm like, you know what? When I'm signing my lease renewal, I'm signing for 1 year, and this is going to be the last time I sign this lease renewal because I am moving out of here. And not only am I moving, I'm leaving New York City. Yes, at that moment, I decided that I was leaving New York City, and it was so many factors. It wasn't only the things that I was dealing with, like in my apartment, like the noise was driving me crazy. And I'm not just talking about just regular, normal, everyday noise, hearing people like walking through your apartment, but constant kids running, heavy items crashing to the floor. I already deal with anxiety, and things got worse during the pandemic, and now I'm dealing with this extreme noise, and it's like driving my anxiety crazy, causing panic attacks, tears. I'm like so unhappy and feeling helpless. And on top of the noise that's going on, it's like the state of the city is bad. Right before the pandemic started, like crime was increasing. During the pandemic and as things started opening back up, things was just crazy here in the city. Robbery, people pushing people in the tracks, harassing people in the train, just all types of crime. And it's like, I'm already scared to go back outside because I'm scared of, this virus and trying to get back to normal. But mentally, it's like I can't cope with the fact that I have to go back outside and I'm still scared. I'm not ready. And then I'm literally scared to go outside because people are going crazy. So I'm like, I'm leaving New York City. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy with my apartment. I'm not happy living here. I don't feel safe. I'm tired of noise, and all I want in my life was some peace and quiet. So we're moving to the end of 2022. We're almost to 2023. And I turned 40. And it's like I'm getting so nervous because it's like I have about 6 months left in my lease. And, it's crunch time. And I said I was moving, but I was so scared. But come the holiday season, and, it was time for the new year. And I told you guys in my New Year vlog when I was talking about my word of the year that I was ready for change, that this was going to be my year of change, and that it was going to be faith over fear. And I decided that I was going to go through with this move that I planned almost a year ago. So here we are. It's after the new year. It's now January 2023, and I have a couple of months until my lease is up. And I am so scared because I'm scared of the big move, but also I'm now looking for apartments, and things are hard at first. First, there's nothing available, and then I'm reaching out to so many places and no one is responding, or people are responding with they don't have anything available. Then right when I started to get scared that I wouldn't be able to find a place and move like I wanted to, things started to look up. I found this place that I really, really liked, and I reached out. It was like after midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, pretty much asking, did they have anything available for move-in March 1st? Because on their website, it just said available soon. The next day, as soon as I woke up in the morning and, I got settled, I don't usually check my emails first thing in the morning because that's my morning time. I check the email, and they're like, hi, we do have something available for March 1st. And from there, I set up a viewing for me to come see the apartment that weekend, and I loved it. And I started the application process. And it's like the application process was crazy and nerve-wracking. I haven't had to apply for an apartment in 17 years. And I'm like, they want so much information. There's so much back and forth. There's so much calling, this, that, and the third. But in the end, I got the apartment. Like, I was so excited. I got the apartment, and I paid the security deposit to secure it. And then it's like, it's so surreal because it's like I'm moving. And then it's like, I can't believe where I'm moving to. Like, where I live at now, not exactly the hood. Like, I grew up in the hood, like in the projects, and I tried my best not to raise my son there. It still ended up in a hood area, the gentrified hood, but it's still hood to my standards. And now I don't want to be anywhere near the hood. I don't want to live in the hood. I don't want to live down the block from the hood. I don't want to live around the corner from the hood. I don't want to live walking distance from the hood. I don't want to be nowhere near the hood. And I'm going to be a great distance from the hood in a suburb in a nice community with outdoor spaces. Like the apartments have balconies or patio. I'm on the ground floor, so I have a patio, and there's like an Olympic-sized pool. There's a fitness center with showers and a restroom and saunas, spaces that you can use to have events during the year, tennis courts, picnic areas, hiking areas. Like, the community is so dope, and I really cannot believe that I'm about to live here, guys, because I thought this was unattainable for me at the moment. And I'm getting all of this for less than what I'm currently paying at my apartment now. And the reason why I thought this was unattainable, because I set boundaries for myself pretty much. I wanted to stay in New York City. I thought, I love New York City. I had to stay in New York City. And I wouldn't find nothing like that in New York City. Nothing. Yeah, you could find a penthouse apartment for thousands of dollars a month with pool access and all of this. But then at the end of the day, you still got to deal with hood people and hood nonsense. No, I didn't want that. So when I started thinking outside of the box and decided that, I was going to leave New York City and move away and move closer to my family. Although I do have family here, my dad and his side of the family is here. I wanted to be near my mom and sisters. And when I decided that I'm ready for that peace, and that I can leave the city life behind, like I'm getting older, I want quiet, I'm ready to live in peace and then visit the chaos when I want to, and leave and go home. When I decided that I was ready for that peace, I pretty much opened up new doors for myself and realized that I can get so much more for like what I'm paying. So like I said, it's surreal that I'm going to be living in this place, because I didn't think that it was attainable, but it is. And I'm moving, and it's like literally 2 weeks, actually like a week and a half till I get my keys, in about 2 weeks till I'll be moving in. And I'm packing up my apartment after 17 years and leaving New York City, and I could not be more excited about it. So I am extremely excited about this change, you guys, because not only is my quality of life about to be better, but as far as like career wise and being to expand my business and do the things I want to do, it'll be better for me, because I wasn't consistent on my channel for a long time because I literally couldn't record. When I'm trying to record, people are banging over my head, their kids are running. I literally cannot record. I had to stay up and wait till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm extremely tired. Like, I literally be in tears because every time I'm trying to work, there's so many things getting in my way, and I'm like I'm trying to record this content, I'm trying to start up other things, but I can't even think straight with the things that I'm dealing with in this apartment, and I'm like, I have to go. So it's like, now that I'll be in a more quiet environment and with more space, I'll be able to be consistent with my content and expand in the ways that I want to expand. So like, I am so excited about all of this. Like, you guys don't even know the half. And on top of that, I get to be closer to my family and watch my niece and my nephews grow, and not have them sad and upset when I'm leaving to go back to the city. Like, all of this is so exciting. And don't get me wrong, I'm still terrified because it's a lot of change taking place, and I still don't have everything figured out. Like, I'm working on it, but I still don't have everything figured out. And like, I know it might be a little rough patch while I get settled, but that's okay, because for some reason, like I keep telling my son, I just have this sense of calm that everything is going to be okay in the end. Like, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out fine. Everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. That's what I keep saying. It's like, I'm not just saying it to hype myself up or saying it to saying it. Like, I truly believe that everything is going to be fine and that I made the right decision. And it's just like, God has been working in my favor. The universe has been working in my favor. Everything has been lining up like it's supposed to for this move. And it's like when I started having doubts about not making a move or having second thoughts, something would happen like to push me like, girl, keep on going, you got this, you're gonna get what you need. Like when I was thinking about quitting looking for an apartment because like I was reaching out to so many places and nobody was responding. As soon as I got nervous and was ready to quit and having second thoughts like maybe I'll stay one more year, the apartment came through. It's like everything has been working in my favor, and it's like I'm just so excited. So yeah, right now I'm tired. Like I've been trying to keep up with my work at my day job and my own separate work. Now I'm trying to pack up, and it's like I had to buy certain stuff. Like certain stuff I need to do. Like I've had the same pots, cutlery, all of that for 17 years. My pots are still in great condition. I don't need new pots. My cutlery and stuff, it was decent condition to be here, but now that I'm moving, I needed new stuff. And then it's like I don't have a dining room. I have like a small eating area where I have my, bar pub set up. And you guys will see, that'll be in my new apartment. But now I have a dining room, so I need the dining room set. And the biggest thing, a bedroom. Like, I didn't have a bedroom. I had a space in the living room. And the living room is shared between my office area, the living room, and my bedroom. And it's like I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but this is my first time in life that I'm going to have my own bedroom. At 40 years old, my first time having my own bedroom. I find that to be crazy. When I was living at my mom's, I shared a room with my sister, and then like when I moved out with the roommates, I shared a room with my son. It was my room, but it was my room with my son. At my aunt's house, I shared a room with my son. And then in this apartment for all these years, although it's my apartment, the entire apartment is mine, I still didn't have a bedroom with the door. And I shared my space, my bedroom, with the living room and the office area. So no private space of my own where if I'm having a day, I can just go in my room and close the door. And now, at 40 years old, I'm finally getting my bedroom and some added peace. So I am so excited about that. I know it may sound crazy, or maybe to some people it's not a big deal, but for me it is a big deal, and I'm so grateful because I know some people, like I may be complaining that I don't have a bedroom, but I have a whole entire apartment, and some people don't even have anywhere to stay right now. Like things are crazy, we're in a recession, things are expensive, and like I told you, even in my building, everybody in this building have their entire family piled on top of each other, and it's like I have my space with just me and my son. So no, I don't have a bedroom with a door, but I have an entire apartment. I'm blessed with that. And don't get me wrong, I am grateful for my blessings, but I'm extremely excited and grateful for this next chapter and new blessings where I have my own apartment still, but I also have my own room and a bedroom with a door and an outdoor patio space. I mean, I cannot wait to show y'all my apartment because it is so dope. And it's going to be even more dope after I dress it all up. Like, I'm going to share all of this with you guys. So you have to make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed and you ain't hit the subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button because this journey that I'm about to embark on is going to be so amazing, and I'm sharing it all with you guys. So that is why I'm leaving New York City in a nutshell. It's been a long time coming, but I felt like I just wasn't ready yet, and now I'm ready. Now it's time, and like I got over my fear and I leaned on faith, and I'm taking that step, and I am leaving, and I can't leave fast enough. Like I know it's only a couple of more weeks, and the time has been flying because it's literally been like 12 months and then 9 months where it's like I'm planning to make this move, and then next thing you know I blinked and the holidays was here, and I'm like, okay, it's almost crunch time. Then it's like, okay, it is crunch time. I need to find a place. And like the time between looking for a place and almost about to move went so quick. So I'm like, I'm growing a little bit impatient, but I'm like, listen, you've been patient this long, you've come so far, you're literally about to have your keys. So I'm keeping myself busy and packing and preparing for this move, and I almost have everything I need. It's just a few more things I need to order. I'm almost done. But I'm going to pack up as much as I can this weekend, and then I'll be packing all week long. So when it's time to pack up, I'll be done. I won't be stressing the last minute up all night, tears. I start crying when I get too stressed. It's like an automatic reaction, like for me, like can't handle pressure. Well, I won't say I can't handle pressure because I'll still do what I need to do, but I'll be crying. But I'm gonna stop rambling. I shared with y'all why I'm leaving New York City, and I'm leaving soon. And I'm gonna get back to packing because all I packed was this one box, and I still have a few to go. I'm packing up everything that I don't need to use at the moment. So y'all stay tuned because the next video will probably be an empty apartment tour. So y'all stay tuned. Like I said, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. See you next time.